Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing Nuke.
Welcome back, fight fans. Now let's take a look at this. Danny Garcia and Terence Crawford. Who has the better resume? These guys are fighting all over social media, talking shit to each other about who wants to fight, who doesn't want to fight. Honestly, that's a hell of a fight. I'd love to see it, and I think that'll be one of the fights of the year. It'll be a very good fight, competitive fight. But let's stick to the point. Who has the better resume? Honestly, I have to give it to Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia has probably fought the better opponents. He's fought Amir Khan, Lucas Mathise. He's fought Lamont Peterson when Lamont Peterson was decent at Lamont's more natural weight. And so that was a better fight than when Spence got Lamont older, out of his weight, just not the same guy. Especially go back and look at the fight, you'll see there's a huge difference between that Lamont and Lamont that fought Spence. Because I know that some people will try to troll. In addition to that, he's fought so many other good fighters. So Danny Garcia definitely has the edge on the resume. But if it actually comes to fruition with the fight between these two guys, and these two guys do fight, I think that it would be a very, very good competitive fight. I'm leaning toward Terence Crawford to win that fight. Danny Garcia said, "Oh, I beat you in the amateurs and this and that." We've seen that Danny Garcia is a very good fighter, but Terence Crawford is special. And the fact that, and what lets me know that Danny Garcia knows that this isn't the same fighter from the amateurs that he's fought, is the fact, based on a statement that he said that he needs to see Crawford fight Spence. And then they can get him, and we don't even know if he's going to beat Sean Porter. I don't know. That doesn't sit right with me, thinking that, Crawford has to go through this guy first before he can come to me. If he's such easy work, if his resume's trash, go get him and go get a huge payday. Then he makes another excuse and say Bob Arum won't make the fight. That makes absolutely no sense. Bob Arum would love to make that fight. That's a huge fight. He probably believes Terence Crawford would win easily. Why wouldn't you make the fight? Terence Crawford has shown no weaknesses or vulnerabilities to the same level of opponents that Danny Garcia has. And so Terence Crawford, he's looking the part even though he hasn't fought a guy like Keith Thurman, but he looks to be on the same level, if not higher than that Keith Thurman. He dispatches fighters really, really well. If you look at Danny Garcia, he had some struggle fights. Yeah, he picked up the wins, but some of those fights were struggled. And he fought a Brandon Rios, who actually looked competitive for a few rounds. And I'm sure that Brandon Rios is nowhere near the level of a Jeff Horns. And Jeff Horn never looked competitive against Terence Crawford. And those are some very recent fights of both of these guys. So let's just be honest. If Danny Garcia had a little bit of trouble with Brandon Rios before picking up the stoppage, he really would have had a lot of trouble with Jeff Horn's style. In comparison, Terence Crawford wiped Jeff Horn off the map. So that's a good way to look at it. But if you look at it, Danny Garcia is a really good fighter. We don't know if he can beat Sean Porter. And we all know that Bob Arum will make the fight. Now, people are coming to me saying, no, he won't make the fight. Bob Arum holds his fighters. That's a lie. When everyone said that Bob Arum would make the Vasily Lomachenko versus Guillermo Rigo fight, he made it. Regardless of who had the advantage or what, Rigo kept calling out Lomachenko. He made the fight. He made the fight. He fought Lomachenko early against Gary Russell Jr., and he did not want to make that fight. He wanted to guide his career, but he made the fight because that's what the fighter wanted. Terence Crawford, on the other hand, he wanted to come up immediately, did not want any tune-ups, wanted to go right into a championship fight against Jeff Horn. I believe that Jeff Horn is being looked at as some type of scrub or something. I don't think Jeff Horn is an elite fighter, but I think he's a good fighter. I think he's a B-level fighter, and he made the fight immediately. Don't forget that Bob Arum made the biggest fight of all time against Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, the fight that many people said that he would never make. This is what I'm saying. He will make the fight if the fight presents itself. Danny Garcia is not such a good and elite, scary fighter that he will not make the fight. That's bullshit, and you and I both know it. We all know that Danny Garcia is not the fight that instills fear in Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, or Sean Porter. So anyone in the welterweight division that's anybody, he does not instill fear. Now, with the Sean Porter, Danny Garcia fight, I believe that's going to be a good competitive fight. We'll talk about that another day. But at the end of the day, Terence Crawford, Terence Crawford and Danny Garcia would be a very interesting fight, but I believe Terence Crawford would get the best of him. I think Danny Garcia is a very talented and gifted fight, but then again, the Errol Spence and Danny Garcia fight is a totally different fight because, once again, Danny Garcia has a plethora of more skills than Errol Spence. Flip side, Crawford can adjust to anything, has the best skill set I've seen since Floyd Mayweather. So we'll just have to wait and see. Once again, it's the IBFP.